You're watching an Otakaijin radio production. Welcome to episode 2 of our new series on Otakaijin Radio, Artist Spotlight, where we interview upcoming artists from all over the world. Tonight, we've got the incredible Darasha in the studio. She's a rising talent lighting up the scene with her debut album, Crank It Up. Let's get into it. Darasha, welcome to Otakaijin Radio, you absolute rock metal legend in the making. Let's kick this off with a bang. Your debut album, Crank It Up, is pure fire, blending that D&D vibe with head-banging energy. Can you tell us what inspired this epic project and how your roots shaped its sound?
Hi, hello! Well, first, thank you so much for having me on Otakaijin Radio. I'm such a big fan of the station, to be honest, Kaito. I'm a bit gobsmacked right now. To your question, Crank It Up was largely inspired by the video game Baldur's Gate 3 and the Dungeons & Dragons universe. As you could probably tell, I'm a goblin girl from Tyril. That's the world where D&D is set, right? And there, I was an entertainer and musician for a number of years. Cut my goblin teethers on bard music and the orchestral stuff the elves conjure. But I'd always felt a connection to harder music. You know, stuff more of the earth, more elemental and metal, I guess you could say.
Darasha, your journey from Tyril to the human realm is wild. Total legend status. As a goblin girl, you've got a one-of-a-kind story. How do your goblin roots shape the music you're making now and how you see yourself as an artist?
Where I come from, goblins are kind of seen as an all-purpose annoyance, like rats. Nobody likes a rat, right? You don't fear a rat. You just find it repulsive and want it out of your kitchen. Everywhere a goblin goes in Toril, we get treated like rats. Shooed away, looked at with disgust, or blamed for something some other goblin did. Ugh. And yeah, okay, some of that reputation is well earned. I'll cop to that. Centuries of living in extreme isolation, being enslaved by stronger races, kinda made us that way over time, I guess. Even today, a lot of us act like football hooligans you'd cross the street to keep your distance from. But I say all of that to say this: being a goblin is all about overcoming adversity everywhere in life. Even the smallest obstacles can feel absolutely enormous to us. And I feel like the challenges that I've faced as a goblin, trying to defy and shatter the stereotypes about my kind, is a large part of who I am, both as a person and musically.
Darasha, that's powerful stuff, turning those goblin struggles into pure fire for your music. You mentioned overcoming those massive challenges and shattering stereotypes. How do you channel that defiance and grit into your performances, and what's it like bringing that raw goblin energy to the stage as a rock metal idol?
I'd say a fair amount of it goes into the songwriting itself, right? The lyrics, what the songs are about. A lot of my tracks tend to be fun on the surface, but in each there's at least one metaphor or statement about defiance and grit. Most of the themes are about really powerful emotions: love, hate, prejudice, violence. So the type of music I play, loud rock, metal and EDM mostly, lends itself well to that, I think. I'm able to completely throw myself into a lot of the songs, really belt the words out with the same ferocity I had in my heart at the time I wrote them. So it's absolutely brilliant that I'm able to bring my experiences from Tyril with me into the human world and deliver them in a way that really speaks to my life experience.
Your songwriting process is seriously inspiring, taking those raw emotions and experiences from Tyril and weaving them into lyrics packed with metaphors, all while fusing rock, metal and EDM into something so intense. It's clear your goblin roots give Crank It Up. That unique edge and your performances bring it all to life in such a powerful way. Now, you touched on how your goblin heritage influences your music, but I'm curious about the journey behind it. Who or what lit that spark for you to blend those bardic and orchestral vibes with harder elemental sounds, and how did that evolve into the fresh, electrifying style we hear on the album today?
Gosh, I'm so glad you asked that, Kato, because the funny thing is, right, I'm probably one of the only goblin girls you'll ever meet trying to save your world, not destroy it.
Whoa, hang on a sec. Did you just say you're saving the world, like not blowing it up or something? Darasha, I'm totally lost here. Is this some epic D&D campaign level stuff, or are you dropping a legit bombshell? You got to break this down for me because my brain's spinning.
Right, I'm sorry. I get really excited sometimes talking about this. Proving that goblin kind aren't all bad has always been a sticking point for me. I come from a realm that has been laid waste to many times over by some of the darkest, most foul evils you can possibly imagine. Entire kingdoms have fallen out of the sky, whole peoples wiped from the face of the earth. When I came to your human world, almost right away, I started to see a lot of the same warning signs here we'd seen back home right before things got really bad. Military conflicts across the planet, cultures divided, not unified by any higher ideal or purpose, plagues, and the necromancers who profit from them. Kaito, we've seen all these things happen in Toril, and now they're happening here too. I'm trying to wake people up to some hard truths with my music. I don't want to see what's happened to my world happen to yours.
Wow, Darasha, you just dropped an absolute bomb, and I'm kind of shook. Kingdoms falling, great evil ripping your world apart, and you are seeing those same vibes here. I love how you're channeling all that fire into your music to wake us up. It's like you're a bard casting a truth spell on the whole planet. So let's get into that. How are you weaving these big warnings into your tracks? Like, are there specific songs that hit on these hard truths? And how do you balance that with keeping the crowd hyped and headbanging?
Yeah, so Crank It Up is a record of its time. What I mean by that is quite a few of the tracks revolve around things that are happening like right now, you feel me, or video games, or characters that are trending or popular in the public eye. Because I think a lot of the central discourse right now is told through those channels, things like games and TV and what have you. It's important to use popular devices to convey meaningful messages. It makes the music more memorable and accessible. And I also think that the way people listen to music now has changed a lot too. There's a lot less subtlety and metaphor in music today in general, I've noticed. And I use a ton of metaphor in my songwriting. So I balance that with references to popular media to keep the crowd hyped and headbanging, as you say. You've got songs like Not for a King's Ransom, TPK, and Eyes of the Beholder that crush those themes, I think. Then there's 4 tracks, Crank It Up, Night Orchids, Basil, and The Scars Upon Your Back, which are specifically romantic songs addressed to 4 of the story characters from the game Baldur's Gate 3. It's definitely a nerdcore album for fans of the genre. But every song, no matter the topic, is expressing a powerful feeling or sentiment that I'm trying to make the world a little less numb to.
Hey, Darasha, I'm really digging how Crank It Up captures the vibe of the moment with all those trending references. Your songwriting's got this knack for weaving in what's hot while still hitting deep. I'm a huge fan of how you lean into metaphor. It's like a secret weapon that makes your lyrics pop and linger in the best way. Those romantic tracks have got so much heart packed into them. What's the fire that drives you to pour all that emotion into songs for fictional characters? How does that connect to your mission of shaking people out of numbness through music? It feels like there's a big story there, and I'd love to hear it.
I think fictional characters are just samplings of real people mashed together, right? Most of them have got some kind of mirror here in this world, whether it's the author's dreams, a memory, a challenge, a great evil. I mean, that's a large part why people get so attached to fictional characters in the first place, isn't it? They represent something very real to them on a personal level. Much of my musical fire and fury comes from my message, the drive I have to achieve my goals, not so much whether the person I'm writing about is real or not. To shake people out of numbness, as you say, I often use fictional characters deliberately because it's easier to hit people with a message when it's not coming from a face or a source they're already prejudiced against, which is most things nowadays, feels like. But what I mean is, okay, so for example, if you're a nerd and you're a Democrat, but I wanted you to listen to a Republican idea, who do you think you're more likely to be receptive to hearing it from? JD Vance or Loki the Trickster? See what I'm getting at here?
I think I'm starting to catch what you're throwing. Your songwriting has this incredible way of weaving deep messages through these characters. It's such a fresh vibe. I'm dying to know, how do you think your fans and listeners have been taking in these messages? Like, what's your sense of how they're connecting with the stories and emotions you're putting out there? Any reactions or feedback that's really stuck with you?
Well, I mean, the album's only been out for barely a month, so it hasn't had too much time to breathe yet. Even so, the feedback has been really good. We blew past 6,000 streams of the album in its first month. And I'm a Goblin and What Do I Mean to You are both rapidly moving up several playlists. So I wouldn't be surprised if by this time next month, I'm dealing with a viral situation on one of them. There are definitely a few choice reviews I've especially loved. Like playing D&D with Paramore and Avenged Sevenfold was one I was particularly fond of, especially since I love both of those bands dearly. Oh, and another favourite went something like, it's a little bit of everything blended together real tastefully. 2010's EDM, sick guitar riffs. Imagine Cruella and Protest the Hero teamed up to make epic intro music for modern anime. I mean, that definitely sums up the music I made pretty accurately.
Darasha, that's incredible. 6,000 streams in just a month? Your album's clearly hitting all the right notes, and with tracks like I'm a Goblin and What Do I Mean to You climbing those playlists, it feels like you're on the brink of something huge, maybe even viral by the time this interview drops. The buzz is real, and I'm loving the energy you're bringing. But let's take it a step further. Your style's got this unreal mix of EDM beats crashing into rock and metal riffs. How did you first dream up that combo? Was it like a light bulb moment or something you built up over time, jamming out? And what's cooking next for you? Any plans to push that sound even wilder? Maybe a collab with someone who'd blow our minds? Lay it all out for us, Darasha. Your fans are tuned in and ready for the scoop.
Since I was little, I've loved all kinds of music, from goblin tribal ditties to the orchestral lays of the elves. I was into it all. So when I came through the portals to Earthrealm, it was only natural I tried to absorb everything I could. Metal and EDM already have some overlap musically because you've got the low-end drops, percussive rhythms, arpeggios, heavy use of keys. And I mean, electronica has existed since before I got here, so I can't honestly take credit for that. My next album, Little Goblin War Machine, will definitely open up my genre envelope much wider with a number of tracks exploring other forms of music that have inspired me across the years. I don't want to spoil too much, but in August, you guys will get to hear all new materials that include R&B, hip-hop, dubstep, slack key fingerstyle guitar, funk, industrial, Celtic, and nu metal, in addition to my normal heavy alt-rock stylings. And I've been hard at work collaborating with other artists within the X-Hype roster too, so right now, the future is full of possibilities for this Goblin.
Your love for all kinds of music, from goblin tribal ditties to elven orchestral lays, really comes through in how you blend everything together. It's amazing how you've taken that passion and mixed it with metal and EDM, and now you're pushing it even further with Little Goblin War Machine. Your sound feels so current, like it's totally in tune with what's happening right now. How do you weave those timely vibes and references to popular IPs into your tracks while still keeping that unique Darasha spark? And with your collaborations with the X-Hype roster, How are those shaping what's coming next? It sounds like you're on the edge of something really exciting.
Maglubiet's nuts. So I know a lot of people are going to be right brassed off at me for saying this, but I feel like arts and entertainment have gotten, I don't know, stale and overly consumery. It's a load of tosh, really. I mean, people are innovating less, taking less risks, and I think some of that's financial, sure, but also there's this neglect of artistic process and a ruinous focus on content production, which is sadly a reaction to the times we're living in. Short attention spans, steep competition to hold viewer attention, a terrifying political landscape. I see all of these things as antithetical to the natural progression and evolution of art. Look at the film The Matrix, for example. Brilliant movie. People were mind blown when it dropped because nobody had ever thought of putting 120 cameras in a circle to show the viewer a single frame of action from multiple perspectives. That kind of innovation used to happen all the bloody time in music, in games, in literature. I just want to bring that pioneering sort of energy back and leave a legacy of something fresh behind me. And I've been actively seeking out collaborations with other ex-hype artists to make this happen, whether it be with music, the anime I'm producing, or an even larger, super secret project I can't talk about yet.
I really hear you on how the art scene feels kind of stuck lately. It's like everything's just about churning out stuff to grab eyes instead of taking big swings creatively. Your nod to The Matrix and that wild 120 camera trick totally nails what's been missing. It's so cool to think about that kind of bold move. Your music's got this kick that feels so now, perfectly tying into what's popping with current IPs. How do you pull that off while still keeping it your own? I'm curious about how you're bringing that fresh, pioneering spark back with your work. Those collabs with ex-hype artists sound like they're part of the magic. How's that going? Oh, and that secret project you hinted at. Any chance you can toss us a tiny little clue, a crumb of details for our listeners?
Trying to keep the music my own isn't really something I do consciously. I think as an artist that as long as you stay true to whatever your message is and you don't deviate from that for the sake of the now or what you think people will buy, your sound will always be your own. I grew up during a time where music was generally very anti-establishment and anti-corpo. Now we live in a time where it feels like people are willing to shill for corporations without even getting anything back for it. That's not and never will be me. My next album is going to really shout that message loud and clear from quite a few rooftops, literally, since I'll be taking that record on tour to the countries that stream my first album the most as well. As to the secret project, well, I can't say much other than that before too long, my fans might be able to watch and interact with me in a live stream type environment. That's really exciting for me because one of my goblin tenets is to keep my operation grassroots at all costs. Doing that means staying as connected as possible to the people that helped me get here. You, the fans.
Darasha, I really hear you on keeping your music your own. It's inspiring how you stick to your message, and I know exactly what you mean about that anti-establishment vibe from back in the day. The music industry these days can feel like a cold, corporate machine with artists shilling for big labels and getting nothing truly real in return, which just kills the soul of what music should be. Over here at Otakaijin Radio, we're all about giving a voice to grassroots movements and artists like you, who aren't afraid to push back against that. Your next album sounds like it's going to hit hard with that edge, especially with your tour taking it to the countries that backed you from the start. How do you see those shows becoming more than just gigs? Maybe a way to really drive your message home, and that live stream idea feels so perfect for staying connected, grassroots style. What's your plan for making it a space where fans can feel that raw, anti-establishment energy with you? Can't wait to hear how you're keeping it real for the people who've been riding with you since day one.
Like almost everything I do, giving things deeper meaning, the live shows represent the idea that if fans can overcome their fear of unplugging from the corporate narrative, that you have to swallow whatever they're serving, they'll rediscover the magic that used to make fans passionate about bands in the past. Doing live shows in the countries that stream me heaviest shows that it's the people, not a bunch of suits in a boardroom, that decide where and how far my sound travels. Kaito, I'm like a choose-your-own-adventure book, and my fans are the reader. The more you turn my pages, so to speak, the more direct influence you'll have over the direction my quest will go. If you can name one other virtual idol offering that same level of intense and personal with her fans, I'll send you a free signed copy of my next album.
I love how you frame that. Your fans are the ones flipping the pages, guiding where your music takes us next. That's such a vivid way to show how much power they hold in your world. It's refreshing to hear an artist like you talk about keeping it real, letting the people steer the ship instead of some suits calling the shots. Those live shows in the countries streaming you the most? Bold move. Proof that your fans' voices matter more than the industry playbook. I'm curious, though, how do you see those gigs turning into something more than just a performance? Like a space where fans can really feel that magic you're talking about, where they're not just watching, but actively part of breaking free from the standard narrative. And with your live stream plans in the mix, it sounds like you're taking that connection even further. What's your vision for making those streams a spot where fans can plug into that spirit right alongside you? Oh, and that challenge you threw down, naming another virtual idol with that same intense personal fan connection. I'm racking my brain here, but I might just have to admit defeat and snag that signed album anyway. Seriously though, you're setting a high bar.
To borrow a Charlie Murphyism, I'm a habitual line stepper. As a goblinoid metalhead, being bold and unfiltered is kind of what I do, right? But I guess that's where the stereotype falls apart, isn't it? Because unlike most goblins, I don't see the point of having a treasure hoard without a great tribe to share it with. And unlike most metalheads, I don't believe in throwing up the horns at the expense of all other forms of music. I've definitely got a Tomb Raider's mentality, a love of the unknown and the unexplored. Just the other night, in fact, I was in the studio with Demon Doctor reviewing various odds and sods from a project we're collaborating on, and something he said just fired off a spark in my little goblin brain, completely at random. And I was like, okay, DD, keep your hair on, but I think we just invented an entirely new genre of music tonight. And we did! Shanty hop, which is basically pirate hip hop, and it is absolutely awesome. Think, yo ho, a gangster's life for me, motherfucker.
That's wild. Shanty hop sounds like a total game changer. I'm obsessed with how you're always pushing boundaries and mixing things up, and pirate hip hop? Yo ho and all? That's next level genius. It's so you. Bold, unfiltered and flipping stereotypes. I love that you're not just hoarding the treasure for yourself either. You're all about sharing it with your tribe. I've got to know more about this Demon Doctor person you've been cooking up shanty hop with. Pirate hip hop is next level insane. What's the deal with Demon Doctor in the studio? Are they the mastermind dropping those sea chanty hooks, or are they more the chaos agent flipping the hip hop beats into something wild? How did the two of you strike gold with this genre mashup, and what's the craziest idea they brought to the table that made shanty hop click? I'm dying to know more.
Oh! Dee, the Doctor. He's another one of X-Hype's musical artists. You should definitely check him out on Spotify and Insta. I'm currently doing collabs with those X-Hype artists actively pushing the freshest indie IPs. So that's mostly artists who are developing original characters and sounds. Demon's a superstar in that category. If you want to know more about Shanty Hop and its creation, I'll definitely have to let Dee speak more to that himself, especially since he's the one releasing it. My next album, Little Goblin War Machine, is going to be a lot heavier. There's going to be a lot more metal, EDM and electronic elements, as well as some really shocking splashes of R&B, Celtic folk, dubstep, and symphonic classical work. I'll really be flexing close to every muscle in my musical anatomy with this album. Lyrically, it's a lot different than my first album, because instead of focusing on specific characters or shows, I've loaded the stone throwers with topics that speak more directly to the human condition and the state of your culture. All those themes we discussed earlier. The anti-corpo stuff, the decline of fandoms, a failing economy. I've woven all of that into an epic tale designed to take fans on a quest so emotional and hard-hitting, it's guaranteed to leave my listeners completely dumbstruck, wondering why the musical experience hasn't been this evocative and enriching until this very moment.
Little Goblin War Machine sounds like it's going to hit hard. Talk about a musical adventure. You're really going all in on those heavy themes. But the fading fandoms and the economy struggles. That's some bold, in-your-face stuff you're weaving into this tale. Do you think fans are ready to take on that kind of intense emotional journey? Are you ever worried about any backlash for tackling such controversial topics as an artist? It takes some real courage to put it all out there like that.
Of course it does. But as a goblinoid, I've been taking society's licks my whole life, so I'm used to all that. Leather skin, you know? Backlash is practically my middle name, Kaito. Are the fans ready? Absolutely! Everything goes in cycles, right? The great wheel turns ever onwards, and we're sort of coming out of the very sensitive, emotional time and heading back toward this need for the grit and badassery you mentioned earlier. And this hard-hitting goblin monk is going to give it to them. Ironically, though, my messages are usually ones of positivity and calls for healing and reconciliation. I learned a long time ago it's impossible to please everyone. All you can really do is focus on the people who you actually inspire and support your work. Any time spent feeding trolls is experience you might have gained on a more productive quest elsewhere.
Darasha, I love your fearless attitude, leather skin and all. You're ready for anything. It's super inspiring how you shrug off the backlash and keep your focus on the fans who roll with your message. Your point about cycles heading back toward grit and badassery feels so spot on for where things are at right now. Oh, and one more thing. Does your creative spark spill over into other stuff you're working on? What else are you messing around with these days that's got you hyped up outside the studio?
It sure does, Kaito. I guess you could say, after music, the thing I love most next is film, and that includes anime as well. I recently challenged myself to see if, using the AI tools available in our current age, I could create an entire episode of Japanese animation. Using the original characters of several of my biggest supporters on Instagram, I started writing scripts, sketching out storyboards, creating a soundtrack. Between myself and my creative partner, Mythic, I think we voiced close to about 500 lines of Japanese dialogue, which all had to be manually subtitled. Then, of course, I had to animate 20 minutes of prompted animation using PixAI's animation tools. It was an incredibly difficult project, but the first episode was a huge success. So now I'm looking for funding for that project through my Patreon.
Darasha, I'm blown away by how you're juggling all this talent. Music, little goblin war machine, and now creating a whole anime episode with AI tools, storyboards, and a soundtrack. Adding animation to the mix sounds like such a huge challenge, especially with all that Japanese dialogue, and not an easy language to nail. You must be pouring your heart into every single part of this project. How do you possibly balance all these creative passions without burning out?
By surrounding myself with awesome, supportive, and inspiring people, Kaito. If it weren't for all my amazing friends at X-Hype and my tribe of fans who love all things metal and goblinoid, I'd never be where I am right now, and I probably would have burned out a long time ago.
It's so heartwarming to hear how your X-Hype crew and your metal-loving goblinoid tribe keep you going strong. Your passion for music and animation is seriously infectious. As we wrap up this awesome chat on Otakaijin Radio's Artist Spotlight, what's one final thing you want to share with your fans out there, the ones fueling your fire and joining you on this wild creative ride? What's the big message or vibe you hope they carry forward from Little Goblin War Machine and your new anime project? Give us that last spark to close it out.
Everywhere I look nowadays, people are stressed out, overworked, depressed. They're so eager to serve imperial masters who don't care about them at all but wonder why they feel so terrible all the time. I think if there's one big message I'd like to carry forward to everyone, it's to take charge of your own adventure again. These days, the powers that be want you to think you'll always just be a player at the mercy of the realms. But that's not true. It's time to shake off that corpo charm spell and take back the things that make our quest through life fun and exciting. Otherwise, what's the point of playing at all, right? With my music and art, I'll always carry the banner of freedom, positivity, and thinking for yourself forward to all my fans and supporters.
That's such a powerful note to end on. Your call to shake off that corporate spell and take charge of our own adventures is straight up inspiring. Your music and art are like a battle cry for freedom and positivity, and I know your fans are going to carry that energy with them. It's been an absolute blast having you on Otakaijin Radio's Artist Spotlight, dropping all of this wisdom and fire. To all our listeners out there, thanks so much for tuning in to hear Darasha's incredible story. Don't forget to subscribe to catch the next episode of Artist Spotlight and keep it locked right here on YouTube for 24/7 live underground music vibes. Until next time, keep chasing your own epic quest. Before we close out this incredible session on Otakaijin Radio's Artist Spotlight, we've got to dive into Darasha's hit track, I'm a Goblin. It's tearing up those playlists. That song feels like a pure blast of your goblinoid energy. Let's hit it!
Can't stop rolling. Dice is hot when I be throwing. Wallets deep like bags of holding, and I can't be stopped. Bear my things, you know I mean it. Never once I've been defeated. You got my token, best redeem it, or you might get rocked. I'm a goblin, 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 goblin. You'll never wipe me from the table as it's toppling. Goblin, 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 goblin. Better get to praising me and groveling, groveling. Right under my feet, got a club in my grip, and I never miss a beat. I'm a lady in the labyrinth, but goblin in the sheets without a natural 20. Better never mess with me. I'm a goblin, 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 goblin. You'll never wipe me from the table as it's toppling, toppling. Goblin, goblin, goblin. Better get to praising me and groveling, groveling. The day might come that you might best me, but it's not today. Oh baby, come and test me.